Stop waiting, start living. Stoic lessons on moving forward. The most damaging error is remaining stagnant in hope, waiting for others to recognize your value, waiting for their return, waiting for them to grasp the depth of what they've discarded. Meanwhile, you linger in emotional limbo, dissecting every memory while questioning your actions. Was I inadequate? Why did they choose another despite everything I offered? Consider this: when has prolonged suffering ever inspired genuine change in someone? When has anyone abruptly reversed course, overwhelmed by regret, pleading for reconciliation? Rarely, if ever. Truthfully, people seldom regret what they perceive as replaceable. This harsh reality often goes unspoken, but you deserve clarity, not comforting falsehoods. The individual who left wasn't conflicted or commitment-averse. They made an intentional decision, and that decision consciously excluded you. This moment shatters illusions. Love alone doesn't transform those who undervalue you. People evolve for those who establish boundaries, not for those they take for granted. Reflect on retail psychology. Discounted items on clearance racks attract casual attention, while luxury pieces behind glass spark desire through scarcity and perceived value. By offering boundless patience, forgiveness, and tolerance for dismissive behavior, you position yourself as negotiable. They departed, often pursuing others who presented non-negotiable standards. I recall someone investing 6 years in empty promises: I need time, I'm unprepared, only to watch their partner propose to a newcomer within months. Why? The new partner never allowed complacency. Commitment follows respect for worth, not endless waiting. Society romanticizes suffering as proof of love, but true respect emerges when you refuse to be an option. Your energy belongs with those who actively choose you, not those you endlessly convince to stay. Loyalty often leads to positive outcomes, but take a moment to reflect on how many individuals have spent their prime years waiting for someone who never truly chose them. Consider how many have poured their hearts into a relationship, only to be replaced by someone who demanded more from the very beginning. This is a pivotal moment for you. Will you awaken to this reality or continue to squander your precious time? You have the power to either walk away or remain a spectator as they build a life with someone else. What I'm about to share with you will empower you to ensure they regret the day they thought they could find a replacement for you, and trust me, they will. But here's the crucial question: are you prepared to embrace your own strength? Are you ready to demonstrate what happens when you finally prioritize yourself? The instant you do, the universe responds, the energy around you shifts, and they will begin to feel your absence in a profound way. If you're ready to liberate yourself and reclaim your power, shout it out in the comments: I'm worthy. Write it down, claim it, and truly feel it. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss what's coming next, because what's on the horizon is going to transform everything. They never feared losing you, which is why they walked away. People often fail to appreciate what they think they can always have. Yet here you are, waiting and suffering, putting yourself through emotional turmoil over someone who never truly valued you. This person left without a second thought, choosing someone else without hesitation. Did they ever plead for you? Did they fight to keep you? Did they show up at your door, desperate to mend things? No, they discarded you as if you were yesterday's news. Now, you find yourself replaying every moment, convincing yourself that love equates to suffering. But where is the suffering? You've been conditioned to be patient, to wait, to prove your love, and to believe that if you just hold on long enough, they will recognize what they've lost. But let me ask you, when has that ever truly worked? How many people do you know who have wasted their best years waiting for someone to come to their senses? How many have given everything only to be replaced the moment someone new entered the picture? They didn't leave because someone else was better than you. They left because they believed they could find someone like you again. And why did they think that? Because you gave them everything without requiring them to earn it. Consider this: if a store began giving away diamonds for free, would people fight to get them? No, because there's no cost, no effort, and no value associated with it. However, if you place that same diamond behind glass with a price tag that only the highest bidder can afford, suddenly, everyone wants it. You were that free diamond, pouring your love, energy, and loyalty into someone who never had to work for it. Because they didn't have to earn your affection, they never feared losing it. I once knew someone who spent 5 long years waiting for a commitment from a partner. 5 years filled with unconditional love, patience, understanding, and forgiveness, 5 years of making excuses for their partner's indecision. Then, out of the blue, they got engaged, not to the one who waited, but to someone they had known for less than a year. Do you know why? Because the new partner never allowed them to take their love for granted. People do not leave what they are afraid to lose. They do not walk away from something they believe is rare. They only leave when they think they can find something similar elsewhere. Many people believe they can easily replace someone, and while they may have thought they could substitute you, the real question is whether they were correct in their assumption. You still hold on to the belief that they were unique and special, and you might think that if you had only done more, given more, or been more, they would have chosen to stay. However, let's flip the question: if they were genuinely special, would they have left so readily? Would they have allowed you to endure pain? Would they have opted for someone else, fully aware of the hurt it would inflict on you? What transpired was not a punishment, it was a crucial lesson you needed to learn. If they had chosen you while still taking you for granted, you would have spent your life yearning for love that should have been offered freely. I recall another individual who dedicated years to giving their all to someone who never valued them. They were convinced that if they loved deeply enough, everything would eventually change. Then, one day, they uncovered a painful truth: the person they had sacrificed everything for was involved with someone else. The most painful realization wasn't the loss itself, but the understanding that they had lost themselves in the process. That is the true tragedy, not that they left or chose someone else, but that you sacrificed your own well-being for someone who never deserved it. But here's the silver lining: you have the power to rise from this experience. You can transform every ounce of pain and every moment of heartbreak into strength. You can rebuild yourself to such an extent that by the time they realize what they have lost, you won't even care. When someone finally chooses themselves, when they stop waiting, stop overextending themselves, and stop settling for less than they deserve, they become untouchable. So, I ask you, are you ready to stop being an option? Are you prepared to stop pleading for love? Are you ready to rise? Because what lies ahead is going to transform everything. Stop chasing after someone who has replaced you like a discarded toy. Love is not a charity, it shouldn't be given away freely like a donation to someone who hasn't earned it. Yet, here you are, still holding on to hope, still waiting, still pouring your energy into someone who cast you aside without a second thought. They didn't replace you because someone else was superior, they replaced you simply because someone else was new. Have you ever seen a child beg for a shiny new toy, claiming it's all they've ever wanted? But the moment they possess it, their interest wanes, and they toss it aside as soon as something else catches their attention. That's who they are, not profound or special, just captivated by the excitement of something new. And here you are, thinking they have triumphed, wondering if perhaps if you had done more, loved harder, or been less challenging, they would have remained. Stop that line of thinking. They didn't leave because you weren't enough, they left because they assumed you would always be there. And guess what? If you continue to wait, cry, or stalk their social media, hoping they will regret their decision, you are only validating their belief. People only regret losing what they can no longer have. Let that sink in. Right now, they don't miss you, they miss the control they had over you. They miss knowing that no matter how poorly they treated you, no matter how many times they prioritized themselves, you were always an option. They don't regret losing you, not yet. Because as long as you are still watching, still hoping, still hurting, they know you haven't truly moved on. And because of that, they feel nothing. Imagine giving your all to someone who never truly appreciated your efforts. You were always there for them, offering support, forgiveness, love, and hope. Then, one day, without any warning, that person simply walked away, showing no hesitation and providing no explanation. Within just a week, they were sharing pictures with someone new, leaving you feeling utterly shattered. You might wonder how they could move on so quickly. The answer is quite straightforward. They never feared losing you in the first place. They believed they could always return to you whenever they wanted. However, something shifted within you. You stopped waiting, you ceased the tears, and you let go of the hope that they would come back. You deleted their number, blocked them on all platforms, and began to live your life as if they had never existed. Fast forward a few months, and suddenly, there they were, sliding into your DMs with weak, pitiful messages like, "Hey, how have you been? I've been thinking about you a lot." It was as if they were suddenly curious, suddenly missing you, and suddenly wanting to know if you had moved on. But did they return because they loved you? No, they came back because you were no longer an option for them. This is how people operate. They don't process loss in real time. You felt the pain immediately when they left, when they started to act distant, and when they stopped choosing you. But for them, regret doesn't set in until they realize they can never have you back. So, why are you still chasing after them? Why do you continue to hurt over someone who didn't even flinch when they walked away? Do you genuinely believe they are lying awake at night, missing you and regretting what they lost? Let me share a hard truth. They won't feel the loss until you are completely gone, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and energetically. Right now, they still sense your presence, they know you are watching and that you care, and that gives them a sense of power and comfort. The moment they realize you no longer exist in their world, that's when the regret will begin to creep in. They will start to wonder if you have met someone else, if you even think about them anymore, and if they have truly lost you. People despise uncertainty. They are accustomed to others waiting for them, chasing after them, and even breaking their own hearts for their sake. But you are on the verge of breaking this cycle. You are about to stop being the one who waits, the one who endures pain while hoping they will choose you. Here's the reality: people do not choose those who wait, they choose those who make themselves irreplaceable. So, how do you achieve that? You stop chasing, you stop hoping, and you stop caring about someone who has already shown they don't care about you. You redirect your energy and invest every ounce of love, focus, and power that you previously wasted on them back into yourself. The truth is, you didn't lose them, you lost yourself in the process. Now, it's time to reclaim your identity. Trust me, they will feel the shift. They may have disappeared without a word, but watch how they react when you embrace silence as your greatest weapon. Right now, you are not utilizing this power. Instead, you are trying to explain yourself, attempting to make them see what they lost, and striving to help them understand your worth. But let me assure you, they already recognize your value, they just never anticipated losing it. If you continue to reach out, if you keep searching for closure, and if you persist in showing them that you are still there, still hoping, and still waiting, they will never regret losing you. Imagine you're thinking about sending one final message, pouring your heart out, or explaining how much they've hurt you. You might believe that this will make them realize what they've lost and suddenly change their mind. However, the truth is, you're giving them exactly what they want. As long as you're still communicating, they know they still have a place in your heart. And as long as they know that, they won't feel any regret. People don't regret what they still have access to. Let that sink in. As long as they can still reach you, as long as they know you're still thinking about them, they won't feel the loss. That's why you need to disappear completely. Not just blocking them or ignoring them for a few days, only to check their profile later. I'm talking about total silence. You don't explain, you don't beg, and you don't give them one last conversation. Here's why: you don't need closure. Closure is often an excuse to keep the door open just a little longer. It's a lie that makes you think you need their permission to move on. But the reality is, they gave you closure the moment they left. They made their decision, and now it's time for you to make yours. Disappear, go ghost, erase them like they never existed. Trust me, when you vanish completely, that's when the panic sets in. At first, they might feel nothing, assuming you're still hurting, still watching, still waiting for them to reach out. But then days pass, then weeks, then months, and suddenly it hits them: you're really gone. That's when the regret sets in. I once knew someone stuck in a toxic cycle with a person who never valued them. Every time they left, they would beg for closure, write long messages asking why, and try to make them see how much they had hurt them. Every time, they were ignored. Until one day, they did something different: no explanation, no warning, no goodbye message. They vanished. At first, nothing happened. The other person went on living their life, thinking they were still out there missing them. But then weeks passed, then months, and the messages started coming: random numbers, emails, mutual friends reaching out. One day, they even showed up in person. Not because they loved them, not because they finally realized they were the one, but because for the first time, they actually felt their absence. And when they saw them, they weren't the broken person who had once begged for their love. They were glowing, happy, and completely out of reach. That's when they lost their mind. That's how you make someone regret losing you: not by crying, not by explaining, not by hoping they'll come back, but by making sure that by the time they do realize what they lost, they can never have it again. You're still sitting here thinking about sending that last message, waiting for closure. You still don't get it, do you? If you want them to regret losing you, then disappear. Don't text them, don't check their social media, don't leave the door open for them to creep back in when they get bored. You owe them nothing. Because here's the truth: they are not sitting around missing you. At this moment, they are not shedding tears for you, nor are they grappling with the challenge of moving forward. Instead, they are relishing their life, feeling liberated, all while knowing that you are still out there in pain. So, let's change the narrative. Let's ensure that by the time they start to think about you, by the time they truly feel the emptiness, and by the time they come to the realization that they have lost something genuine, it will be too late for them. Believe me, they will experience this realization. They haven't triumphed, they are merely the next in line. You might think they have succeeded, that they are superior, or that they are living the life you once dreamed of. Stop deceiving yourself. You once thought you were unique, didn't you? You believed they were different, that they would never cause you pain, and that your bond was unbreakable. Yet, here you are, hurt, bewildered, and replaced. Meanwhile, they are just the next person in a long line. People do not change overnight. They did not wake up one day and decide to be loyal, committed, and honest. They did not magically transform into better versions of themselves simply because they are now with someone else. They remain the same, still the same deceiver, the same manipulator, the same individual who left you questioning your worth. And guess what? The person they are with now will soon find themselves in your shoes, because individuals like that do not build meaningful connections. They do not invest in relationships. They take advantage of others, and once they have drained everything they can from someone, they move on, just as they did with you. You may find yourself torturing your thoughts, convincing yourself that they must be different, that they must possess qualities you lacked. But they do not, they are simply new. And new is often appealing. Have you ever noticed how people become infatuated with a brand new car? The fresh scent, the impeccable design, the thrill of something untouched. Initially, it feels like a dream. But then the payments start coming in, maintenance becomes necessary, and minor flaws begin to appear, and suddenly, the excitement fades. This is precisely what is happening right now. Everything feels fresh and exhilarating for them. They are experiencing the best version of each other, filled with effort, charm, and empty promises, just as you once did. But give it time. Once the initial excitement wears off and the reality of who they truly are begins to surface, the cycle will repeat itself. The person they are with now will find themselves wondering what went wrong, why they have become distant, and why the individual they thought they knew is gradually slipping away. I have witnessed this scenario unfold repeatedly. Someone once shared with me their experience of an ex who left after years together, only to flaunt a new relationship within weeks, acting as if they had finally found their soulmate. It was heartbreaking, making it feel like they had lost to someone better. Yet, a year later, that same new partner reached out, desperate and broken, seeking advice because the perfect person they were with had started lying, cheating, and playing games, doing the exact same things they had done to the person before them. They were not winning, they were merely the next in line. And let me clarify something, the other person is not your adversary. You may perceive them as your competition, but they are not. They are just another pawn in this twisted game. When they eventually come to understand the truth, they will experience the same feelings you are grappling with right now. So, why are you sitting here acting as if you have lost? Why are you convincing yourself that they are the fortunate one? Why do you believe that if they are being treated better, it must mean you were unworthy? They are not living your life. Imagine that those who wrong you are living in a dream that will one day turn into a nightmare. They'll find themselves in the same position you're in now, searching for answers. But what do you do with this knowledge? Do you sit around, watching their every move, waiting for their relationship to fall apart? Do you hope they suffer just so you can feel better? No, you rise above it all. The true victory isn't in watching their relationship fail, it's in building yourself into someone so strong and powerful that by the time they realize what they lost, you won't even care. Trust me, they will feel it. Rise so high that they become invisible to you. Let's get one thing straight, you don't win by making them jealous, you win by making them irrelevant. Yet here you are, still checking their page, still looking at their new partner's pictures, still wondering if they're thinking about you, still playing a game you were never meant to play. But let me tell you something, real power isn't proving your worth to someone who threw you away. Real power is when their existence no longer matters to you. That's why the most powerful move you will ever make is not revenge, not jealousy, not trying to make them miss you. The most powerful move you will ever make is silence. I know what you're thinking, but if I post something, won't they notice? If I look like I'm living my best life, won't they come crawling back? Listen to me, you are still thinking like someone who cares, and that is why you are still losing. The ones who truly move on, the ones who become untouchable, they don't even check if the other person is watching because they are too busy winning to give a damn. Do you think successful people sit around wondering what their exes are doing? No, they are too busy getting more successful. Do you think Beyoncé is scrolling through old messages? Do you think Rihanna is sitting there hoping an ex regrets losing her? No, because they are too busy leveling up, too busy building lives so powerful, so elevated, so untouchable that their past doesn't even exist to them anymore. And that is exactly what you need to do. I once knew someone who was completely broken after being replaced. Their ex left them for someone younger, someone they thought was more exciting, and it crushed them. They stopped going out, stopped taking care of themselves, and spent every night stalking their ex's social media, watching them flaunt their new relationship. But then one day, they had enough. They cut them off completely, blocked them, deleted every picture, erased every memory, and then they poured every ounce of energy they had wasted into themselves. They hit the gym, started a new career, surrounded themselves with people who actually valued them, and slowly, they became a new person. 3 years later, guess who came crawling back? Guess who sent a weak, pathetic message saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." But by then, they didn't even care because that person was no longer relevant in their world. That is the goal, not to make them regret, not to make them jealous, not to get them back. The goal is to build a life so damn good that their memory doesn't even cross your mind. Yet here you are, still stalking their page, still looking at their new partner, still wondering if they're happy. What the hell are you doing? Why are you wasting your time, your energy, your power on someone who has already been established that they don't deserve your time or energy? Do you genuinely believe they are preoccupied with thoughts of you in the same way you are fixated on them? The truth is, they are out there living their lives while you remain trapped in the past. The only way to liberate yourself, the only path to victory, is to elevate yourself to such an extent that you hardly recognize the person who once shed tears over them. So, here's what you need to do: completely remove them from your life. Block, delete, unfollow, and detach yourself from their presence. Each time you check their social media, scroll through old messages, or relive past memories, you are keeping yourself anchored in a chapter that has already concluded. Instead, redirect all the energy you wasted on them into your own personal growth. Transform yourself so profoundly, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, that the next time they hear your name, it won't be associated with your lingering sadness. Instead, it will be linked to your success and achievements. The true form of revenge isn't about proving them wrong, it's about making them so insignificant that their opinions no longer matter to you. When you finally reach that level of self-empowerment, they will undoubtedly feel the impact. Now, let's talk about the tendency for exes to return. You might think they are gone for good, that they have moved on and are living their best lives, completely forgetting about you. However, that's not how it typically unfolds. They will come back, but not out of love, not because they have finally recognized your worth, and certainly not because they have transformed into the person you always hoped they would be. Their return will be motivated by a single reason: to check if they still have access to you. That's the game they play. People often come back when they sense your absence, when they notice the silence, and when they realize that your name is no longer appearing on their phone. Here's the reality: people desire what they cannot have, and right now, you have been too easily accessible. They never had to fight for your affection, they never had to earn your trust, and they never had to fear losing you. Because of this, they never truly valued you. But now, something is changing. They are beginning to feel that something is amiss. They are starting to wonder if you have truly moved on, and it's not love or regret that causes their anxiety, it's the realization that they might have lost you. I once knew someone who was caught in a repetitive cycle with an individual who never fully committed. This person would vanish for months, and just as she was beginning to heal and move forward, she would receive a random text: "Hey, how have you been?" as if nothing had ever happened. Each time she welcomed them back, she convinced herself that maybe this time they were serious, maybe they had changed, or perhaps they genuinely missed her. But the reality was that the moment they realized she was still available, the moment she responded, even with the slightest bit of attention, they would disappear again. They never returned for her, They came back for their own ego, out of boredom, or simply to ensure she remained emotionally ensnared. And that is precisely what your ex is likely to do. So, let me ask you, are you truly going to allow them to manipulate you once more? Are you really going to let them draw you back in only to walk away again? You must resist this temptation. If you respond to that message, you are merely confirming to them that you are still invested. They never truly left you behind, but all they really want to know is if you're still available. The moment you respond at all, even with something as simple as a casual "hey," you send them the message that they haven't lost you for good. You signal that it's alright for them to drift in and out of your life whenever they choose. You let them know you were patiently waiting all along. And the instant they sense they still have that power over you, any trace of regret they might have felt vanishes. They stop longing for you and questioning what happened, because now they realize you never actually went away. With this reassurance, they can disappear again, setting off the same painful pattern that repeats over and over until one day you finally wake up and see how many years you've wasted on someone who was never truly afraid of losing you to begin with. So let me put this point across clearly: when they come back, and you can be sure they eventually will, you don't respond. Don't give them closure, not another chance, and certainly not the satisfaction of knowing you still care. Instead, let them sit with the silence. Allow them to experience the pain of missing you just as you once missed them. Let them feel genuine regret. Only when they finally recognize what they lost, when panic sets in and they truly want you in their life again, will it be too late, because by then, you've already moved forward. That's when they'll feel the sting of loss for real. Never, under any circumstance, let them have access to you again. Don't take back someone who didn't choose you the first time. Read that again and really let it sink in. They had their opportunity, and they let it slip away. So, in this moment of confusion and heartbreak, why would you even think about opening the door for them yet again? Why would you wait for a person who's already demonstrated the ability to walk away from you without hesitation? Take a moment to honestly reflect. Do you honestly think they've changed overnight, or had some grand revelation that made them suddenly value you? The truth is, most of the time, they come back because something else didn't work out for them. Maybe their new fling lost its appeal, or they're simply curious to see if you're still there, still waiting in the wings. It has nothing to do with love and everything to do with convenience. They want to know if you're still an option, still willing to drop everything the moment they give the signal. Think of it like returning an item to a store and then asking for it back later. Does that item suddenly become more valuable? No, it's seen as damaged goods, something that's been given up and returned, carrying the stigma of being unwanted. That's exactly how they'll view you if you let them back into your life, not as more precious, but as less so. As the old saying goes, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. If you open the door for them again, you're handing them permission to take you for granted all over again. I once knew someone who let their ex return after being replaced. The ex said all the right things, played the romantic games, and spoke every word my friend had longed to hear. For a moment, my friend felt victorious, validated. They thought, I've won. But soon enough, the ex left again. This time, they didn't even pretend to feel guilty. And my friend was left even more broken than before. Why does this happen? Because when someone believes you always take them back, no matter what, they lose all fear of ever truly losing you, and that's when you lose yourself in the cycle. When it comes to relationships, it's important to recognize that some individuals may take your kindness for granted. They might view you as a safety net, believing that you will always be there, arms wide open, ready to forgive and forget as soon as they decide to return. If you allow them to undermine your self-esteem, they may continue this harmful pattern until you reach a breaking point. It's crucial to ask yourself what leads you to believe that they have truly changed. Perhaps they offer vague apologies or attribute their past behavior to their own fear of commitment. They might even assure you that they have turned over a new leaf. However, significant personal transformation does not occur simply because someone feels lonely one day. Real growth requires time, effort, and sincere remorse. It often involves seeking therapy or engaging in deep self-reflection, as well as a thorough reassessment of their past choices, rather than a spontaneous urge to reconnect with someone from their past. Remember, you were not a priority when they had the chance to be with you. You should never have to persuade someone to treat you with basic respect or to show you the loyalty you inherently deserve. Love should not be a negotiation where you plead for mere scraps of affection. It should be a mutual exchange grounded in trust, effort, and genuine commitment. Imagine building a house with care, brick by brick, only for someone to come along, kick down the door, and leave it in ruins. Would you really hand them a hammer and nails when they return, expecting them to fix everything? Or would you choose to rebuild it yourself, stronger than before, and securely lock the door behind them? You deserve to live in a fortress of self-respect that is so robust that no one can invade, damage your heart, and walk away without facing consequences. You might wonder, but what if they truly love me? It's essential to understand that real love does not disappear when something new and exciting comes along. Genuine love does not walk away without a second thought, only to reappear when it is convenient for them. True love is consistent, dependable, and safe. It does not create emotional turmoil or make you question your worth. You should never feel like you are merely a placeholder until they find someone better. Another thought that may linger in your mind is the fear of never finding anyone else. This fear can be overwhelming, but it is also a deceptive narrative you tell yourself during vulnerable moments. Holding on to someone who has disrespected your worth does not shield you from loneliness. It merely traps you in a cycle of pain. You may find yourself living in constant anxiety, fearing that they will leave again at any moment, which is likely to happen. It's akin to clinging to a sinking ship, hoping that the hole in the hull will magically repair itself, when in reality, you should be swimming to safety. You are not a second chance or a consolation prize for someone who squandered their first opportunity. You have every right to protect your peace and well-being. You are worth far more than someone's half-hearted commitment or their fleeting moments of attention. You deserve a love that chooses you every single day without hesitation. So, the next time you feel that familiar tug in your heart, that soft nostalgia whispering, maybe I should let them back in just one more time, take a moment to close your eyes and remember the pain they caused. Recall the nights spent wondering where they were or why you weren't enough to keep them around. Remember the moment you realized they walked away without any remorse. Let those memories guide you to firmly lock the door and swallow the key, ensuring that you never allow them back in. Once someone has demonstrated their true colors to you, trust in that revelation and let it guide you toward freedom. This newfound belief in what you've seen can create a safe space for healing and rediscovering your own inner strength. It's a powerful step towards rebuilding a life that stands independently, free from the chains of waiting for external validation. By standing firmly in your own worth, you realize that you're complete and deserving of much more than what they offered. This is the essence of moving forward, protecting yourself from future heartache and reclaiming your personal power by ensuring they never regain a foothold in your life. It's important to recognize that some individuals may attempt to re-enter your world the moment they perceive you growing stronger without them. They might not fully understand their motives. It could simply be a subconscious response to the shift in dynamics. Perhaps they feel unsettled, as if the ground under them is shifting, signaling a loss of the control they once held over you. Consequently, they might show up at your doorstep, cloaked in false remorse or dripping with emotional appeals, hoping to regain a place in your life. However, the truth is stark. A person who once chose to leave, fully aware of the pain it would cause, can just as easily walk away again. For them, leaving was never the hard part. The challenge arises when they realize you're no longer lingering in anticipation of their return. You might feel a twinge of sympathy or guilt, questioning whether you're being too harsh or if their tears signify genuine change. But take a moment to reflect on the countless times you wept over their departure, the endless self-doubt, and the questions that haunted you. Am I not enough? Why did they choose someone else? When you recall how readily they were willing to inflict such suffering, any lingering doubts will begin to dissipate. Some might argue that everyone deserves a second chance, and there's truth to that. People can indeed grow and transform, but profound change typically requires a significant amount of time, effort, and often, therapeutic intervention. It's not something that happens overnight, especially when they circle back shortly after a breakup. Real growth is marked by consistent actions, introspection, and a sincere commitment to making amends. Consider whether they would still care if they hadn't seen you thriving. Often, their return is driven not by love but by fear, the fear that you might find someone better, the fear that you might realize you never needed them, or the fear of losing the comfort of having you as a constant presence in the background. Think of it this way: when your light was dim, they saw no issue in walking away. But now that your flame burns brightly, casting a warm glow for miles around, they want a piece of that radiance again. They might pretend it's about the past or the memories you shared, but in reality, it's about trying to control your newfound shine. Sometimes, they'll wrap their return in the guise of undying devotion, saying the things you always wished they'd say, and attempting to mend old wounds with sweet promises. But if you look beyond the surface, you might find the same emptiness, the same reluctance to do the real work, and the same self-centeredness that led to their initial departure. It's natural to crave connection and hope for redemption, but it's crucial to prioritize your own well-being and growth. Trust in your journey and the strength you've cultivated, and don't let anyone dim your light. Sometimes, you might hope for an apology or at least a genuine acknowledgement that you mattered to them. You could think, if I let them back in, I'll finally find the peace I need. But true closure isn't something someone else gives you, it's a decision you make for yourself. It doesn't come from their admission of wrongdoing, it comes from realizing you always deserve better. You might also wonder, what if this time is different? That question can be dangerously tempting, but it's important to look at the patterns they've shown. If someone repeatedly ignores your needs or treats you like an afterthought, they're unlikely to suddenly start cherishing you just because they've been away. A wolf that's been starving doesn't suddenly become a loyal pet just because it's wandered through the forest. It remains a wolf, and its true nature will eventually reveal itself. Don't forget the biggest trap of all: I love them. Love can become the heaviest chain binding you to the past, especially if you've built dreams around that person. But if they ever step on those dreams, showing you that your love wasn't enough to keep them loyal or respectful, ask yourself, did they truly love you, or did they just love the way you love them? Protecting your peace matters more than satisfying someone else's fleeting guilt. Your emotional well-being isn't a bargaining chip to be traded whenever it suits them, it's a treasure, and treasures don't stay safe if they've been stolen before. Secure the door, strengthen the walls, and guard what's precious from anyone who's already proven they can't be trusted. This isn't about revenge or holding on to anger, it's about stepping into your own value and recognizing you can't place your happiness in the hands of someone who treated it carelessly. You stand up for yourself not to hurt them, but to never again be the one who's hurt. When they reappear, searching for a crack in the door, remember how it felt the last time you believed them. Recall the emptiness, the sleepless nights, and the pain of being discarded. Remind yourself of the strength you've gained since they left, how much you've grown, learned, and deserve far more than the scraps of attention they're offering now. There's nothing left to discuss, nothing to negotiate. No reason to reopen wounds that have finally started to heal. Say no by closing every path that leads back to you. Do it quietly, firmly, and without regret. Once someone has shown you who they are, your job is to believe them, protect your peace, and move forward. Build a future free from their second-hand intentions. You don't need to wait to see if they've changed. By then, you'll be too busy trying to care. That's the real victory, living a life so full and radiant that their absence becomes a minor footnote, not a defining chapter. You won't wonder what might have been, you know exactly what was and choose to leave it in the past where it belongs. Raise your standards and keep them high because they don't get to return and act as if nothing happened. They lost that right the day they walked away.